The story kicks off just outside Aosuba High School, a mammoth academy boasting almost 3,000 students. Due to the academy's high enrollment policy, it is virtually unavoidable that one will encounter some odd people. The heroine of the story, Mary Maria Winter-Nanase, can be seen reading a Japanese poem aloud during her class. She is said to be one of those peculiar girls that one would come across on campus. As soon as she finishes reading the poem, people start to boast about her amazing Japanese reading skills. As much as she is exemplary in Japanese, some of her friends also idealize her stunning beauty. She has a beautiful pair of mesmerizing blue eyes and bronze hair, a nose with Nordic proportions, and the innocence of an ideal Japanese woman. Girls also boast about how perfect she is in every way. She's born in the Scandinavian region with unmatchable traits and beauty. However, such an ideal lady also has her flaws. Happy being bragged about, Mary invites them all to a tea party at her place. Eavesdropping over their conversation, a pair of boys reach Mary out to ask if they could join them too. She gets highly agitated around boys, and that's her major flaw. Considering her uneasiness, she tells them it's a girls-only tea party and boys are prohibited. The reason being that she's only attended schools that had all girls and no boys, and due to strict nun teachers, she's never been familiar with how to get casual around boys. All of that contributed to her panicking behavior as she started to stutter while talking to the opposite gender. Mary is a reckless show-off with no regard for consequences, yet she's also a maiden who harbors a longing for love. Noticing her bothered behavior, one of the boys recalls how she told them she had a boyfriend in America. She replies that it is all true, but since she's a playgirl, she can't keep herself to one boy. She's just trying to save her ass at this point. A few moments later, she's trying to reach out for a book at the library when the hero of this story, Seiki Masha, enters the scene. She's absolutely flustered and slips to fall on the ground. He helped her out by picking up the book from the shelf. She's smitten with Seiki, who frequents the library, so she decides to run the library committee so that she can get to see him often, even though she's never been interested in libraries and books. Despite all that, she feels compelled to maintain her distance from the opposite gender due to her unease. All she lacks is courage and knowledge of how to get closer to boys. Though she reads books, she just can't seem to apply all of that in real life, and that's when she gets to know of the Agents of Love, an organization that has many love professionals. Later that night, Mary tries to contact the organization to seek help for her love life. She hooks up with Kan-chan, an agent from the Agents of Love who looks like a fox. In a split second, Kan-san states that all of Mary's information is against her. Explaining further, Kan asks her for her request, as if she wants Kan to ghostwrite love letters or confess her love to someone on her behalf. Kan will undertake all of it as long as it's related to love. Feeling pressurized, she just asks Kan to handle everything from start to end because she can't do it herself. Kan accepts Mary's request and lets her know of the charges, to which she says that money shouldn't be a problem. They proceed on to a conversation about Seiki Masaya, the boy Mary is passionate about. Kan asks why it is like that. She replies that he is just not like others who might not be cowardly, unmanly, or might show resolve. He's just the total opposite of them all. Kan finds them as insults to Seiki, pondering if Mary doesn't want to date some famous guy straight away. Instead, she wants to start with a level 1 guy, but it isn't like that. Mary asks Kan to stop making fun of others' preferences. She goes on to explain how she just lacks enough courage to make Seiki fold for her. Everyone in school calls her an incomparable beauty. Mary says she could just knock out boys with one hit. Kan doesn't seem to relate to her thoughts, so she goes on to explain how her looks are deceiving enough for boys to repel. Her makeup makes her look like a villainess and a bag that screams to be pretty expensive. Her fashion does gain her admiration for being a female, but it also menaces boys. Explaining the behavior of well-mannered boys, Kan reveals that they're just fearful. They'll definitely require an opening by you first, in order for them to reach you out, especially Seiki. His first thought would be to run away from her as much as possible. Trying to conclude everything Kan said, Mary asks her what she should do. Kan asks Mary to leave it all to her and just follow her instructions. Kan gives her some basic tricks about how to dress appropriately, appropriate lip gloss choice, hair, and everything required to attract boys. Her target shouldn't be boys with dating experience, so she shouldn't underestimate the cowardice of high school boys. The next morning at school, she greets everyone with a good day. Kan explains that a simple hello would serve best. More importantly, Mary should often greet boys with their names. The mere thought of being called by their name can make them fall for her. Since she has learned the basics, it's time to take her first step. Kon makes sure that Mary's earpiece is working correctly. She affirms that it is. Now, all that Mary needs to do is reach out to Seki to ask him for his contact details, but she is required to use the phone that Kon gave her. That way, Kon will be able to have a direct conversation with Seki on Mary's behalf. Mary is too flabbergasted even to think of it, but Kon boosts her morals by revealing that the pen she has on her jacket also has a camera. Kon would give her appropriate bits of advice depending on the stance. That way, she would just have to repeat after Kon. It's time. Kon asks Mary if she is nervous, to which she replies that she actually is. As she goes to talk to Seki, she walks back at the same pace without conveying a single word. It seems almost impossible to her, whereas Kon tries to tell her that a mere hello would suffice for a starter. Amidst all that conversation, Seki approaches Mary instead. He wants to borrow a book from the library, which is a golden chance for both of us to have a decent conversation. It's a dark code series that Seki wants to borrow, and repeating everything Kon is saying to Mary, she asks him if he is into dark series. In his reply, Seki counter-questions whether Mary is also into the dark code series. Mary responds affirmatively, relaying every piece of information that Kon is telling her through the earpiece. After a few minutes of conversation about mutual interests, it is finally time to ask for Seki's contact number. Mary says that she is terrible at explaining things verbally, and with that, she asks him if she could send it to him through text. That's how, after a try-hard session, she's finally able to get his contact. That mission was successful, but Mary's heart was still pounding as if it had never pounded. On the other hand, the agent who we've known as Kon has signed in to line her end, and now she will be the one to handle all the correspondence on Mary's behalf. Meanwhile, Seki can be seen in an abandoned tunnel while on a phone call with someone named Pon. He doesn't really seem like the introvert Seki we've seen so far. Turns out he doesn't even like being an introvert, but he is doing it all since he has also enrolled himself in the same organization as Mary. Seki and Mary are both already interested in each other, but both are just insecure that they might mess up if they try to get along with it on their own. So at this point, both are relying on their virtual assistants from the Agency of Love. The male protagonist who helps Seki is Matsuda Kengo, otherwise known as Pon. The female protagonist, helping Mary, goes by the name Eika Kokon, but her virtual name is Kon, leaving Seki and Mary as the hero and heroine, trying to embark on a journey of love, a no-holds-barred war of love. The same day, Seki talks to his virtual assistant about how it has been a month since he hired him for this job, and all they could do after so much time was get her contact number. Thinking that he is getting scammed, Seki is reassured by Pon that he was unable to even get that contact number before his services. He recalls the events when Seki had reached Mary out with his aggressive boy tactics and was rejected by her immediately. Pon suggests that it's high time Seki actually paid more attention to his advice and switched his personality to introversion. Seki agrees that if that's how he's going to get closer to Mary, he'd rather do anything. Pon appreciates his dedication, but Seki tries to shrug it off with his devilish smirk, saying that he just wants her. That's all. Pon tries to ask Seki what got him to fall for Mary. In his reply, Seki reveals that anyone would fall for her majestic appearance at first glance. Seki claims he will do whatever it takes to get closer to Mary, just for his mere desires. Seki goes on to talk about his morning job and how he needs to pace up his work to cover his expenses. Since he learned that Mary is a foodie, he has been into cooking by himself lately. This impresses Pon, and he exclaims that Seki might be crude with his words, but he is actually good at heart. Responding to that, Seki says that Pon is giving him a little bit of vibes of Negishi, his coworker at the office. Pon thinks in his head that since Seki is giving his all to get closer to Mary, he will help him as best he can. And to make that happen, they would really need their tactics to work. Pon assures Seki that his professional advice will do the best for him and that he should leave it all to him for now. Seki agrees with it and exclaims that it's all in his hands now. Pon talks about how having to talk over text does its job reasonably well for a person to develop casual understandings with another person. However, to build up physical intimacy, one would have to indulge more in real-life contact. Seki asks if Pon has some overpowering technique for that too. Pon reveals that he has a technique that would help Seki get Mary to fall head over heels for him. Seki gets all thrilled and excited to listen to the technique when Pon reveals that it's mere greetings. Seki finds it stupid enough to ask for a refund. But Pon goes on to explain that the mere exposure effect has the tendency to do wonders. It's introductory human psychology that humans tend to hold individuals in high regard who greets them frequently, resulting in regular exposure. The human heart is fragile enough to open itself up more for the individuals the human interacts with. In conclusion, Seki should try to greet Mary every day. Seki gets even mad at his explanation since he was expecting some mind-boggling technique since the names of the methods were too prevailing. After a hefty discussion, Seki finally agrees to pay his regards to Mary and try Pon's methods out. As soon as he tries to reach Mary, Pon shouts at him to stop at once. Pon reveals that Mary is already conversing with her friends. If Seki is to reach out, he will probably be invading their space. It could definitely leave an awful impression. Seki tries to disagree, saying that Pon is probably overthinking right now. This prompts Pon to tell him that he should be afraid of the expressions that lie hidden under a female's smile. To top it off, Seki is an introvert, and introverts don't really jump into one's conversation. Somewhat, they prefer solitude. Pon explains that he should instead reach out to Mary in a trembling manner to let her know that he was there to pay his regards. While he is on the call planning for all of that, he is instead reached out by Mary herself, who wishes him a good morning and leaves instantly. Guess both of these virtual assistants are telepathically sensed. While Seki is reminiscing about this encounter, Mary, on the other hand, is stressed out because trying to reach Seki first is the most stressful task for her. While observing all of that virtually, Mary's assistant, Kon, realizes that Seki enjoys talking on his phone a lot, which helps her to conclude that he might also be in touch with a love agent. The scene shifts to the love agency's building, where Aikawa Kokon is smashing on the president's door for her salary. A few moments later, almost a female-looking male pops his head out the door, telling her to knock it off. She's making love agency look like a shady company that holds their employees' salaries. While she's cracking jokes on the president's ridiculous face, Pon appears in the scene telling Kon that she shouldn't embarrass the president like that. She asks him why he is even there. He replies that he was there for his salary too, the same as she was. Only if she gets a bank account would transferring funds be much easier than paying through cash. She reveals that she doesn't trust electronic money over physical cash. Fed up with Pon's constant yapping, she asks him to shut up as his words give her a headache. Pon reveals that he is used to talking like a mascot now and is there as he will be cleaning the desk. The agency corporation has more than just love agency to it. It also has agencies for cleaning, chores, chauffeuring, and moving works. Having appropriate agents for all relatable works, among them all, Kon and Pon are the top agents. Hence, they have a love-hate relationship among them. Pon actually tops off Kon in terms of stats, which makes her envious enough to hold desires to top him off one day. Both of them think shady of each other. After a heated conversation, Kon is back in her apartment reminiscing over her good old days. Due to unstated reasons, she can't seem to be able to join school again, but when she was at it, she was intriguingly and undeniably popular amongst those in school. Due to her charm and magnificent beauty, she could easily win people's hearts as if it were natural for her. That led to her career choice as a love assistant. Since she is exceptional in what she does, she can't really have herself below someone. After a while, Mary contacts Kon to seek out for help. She's just outside the library's door and can't seem to go inside because Seki is just inside. She was probably too shy, and an embarrassing moment for someone like her. Since Kon and Mary are polar opposites of each other, Kon is low-key fed up with her underconfidence. Kon, it's time for a romance huddle, which puts Mary through thoughts that she might get scolded now. Kon affirms that she really won't do that. Instead, she asks why Mary is so darn shy. She reveals that she isn't. Mary has already given speeches to a large audience too. It's just that she thinks of her successful parents, which puts her through thoughts that her actions might defame them in a certain way. She's always been told to be respectful. If she fails to do that, it's most probably an end for her. All of that has started to make sense to Kon now. She exclaims that Mary has a distinctly anxious attachment style. To explain all of that, Kon discloses John Bowlby's theory, which describes the discrete patterns of attachment and affection and love-like relationships. She reveals the 4 types of it, which makes Mary think of them as blood horoscopes, but they are pretty different from them. Kon goes on to explain in an in-depth explanation that people with conditions like an anxious attachment tend to have excessive expectations or dependence on others. Moreover, they have an abnormal fear of being abandoned too. Mary thinks Kon is just being rude as if everyone is mostly the same as her. Being concerned about abandonment or expecting things from others, isn't that just a constant for all humans? Replying to that, Kon reveals that it's surprisingly not like that. Mary tends to take others too seriously. She's one of those people who become reliant on others, and if they're to be betrayed, they tend to develop a dislike for them quickly. Agreeing to that, Mary says that she probably won't forgive those who will betray her. Con found it scary. Mary instantly feels delighted, saying she won't do without her. Con asks her not to become overly dependent all of a sudden. She asks Con which attachment style she has. She responds that she is an avoidant type, which puts Mary's curiosity to ask about it further. Con reveals that she has tendencies to deactivate strategies, but together, she's the kind of an attachment-avoidant person. A hakikimori who can't form strong bonds with people. Day after day, Mary and Siki get casual together over text. They seem to talk about random but engaging topics, which contributes to knowledge of mutual interests. They've also started to realize that they're closer to each other than before. Although they are happy the way they are still required to make a significant move. While both of their virtual assistants are taking care of their conversations simultaneously, they're trying their best for their physical hookups as well. That would lead to more physical exposure. However, both the clients, Siki and Mary, are unaware of the situation. Their agents have helped them with a meetup at the library for the upcoming day. Now that everything is set, Pon asks Seki what he will do about their interaction. He confidently replies that he will hit Mary up, to which Pon tells him that he is all wrong with that approach. He reveals that Seki needs to stop with his aggressive impatience. It might lead to him scaring off Mary, and he will be done for good then. Instead, he should start rapport building. Seki asks about it, to which Pon responds that it refers to establishing a comfortable relationship as it forms the foundation of communication. Utilizing this process eases talking to strangers. Seki wonders how she would be able to understand all of his feelings on her own if he didn't convey his feelings to Mary. Pon reveals that such tendencies are much more likely to be present in a woman who has been exposed to a romantic experience before. Since Mary is not such a girl, Seki must mold his strategies her way. Seki concludes that he should rather put up with women, which he already has experience in. His mother was an applaudable lady who taught him to be respectful towards women. Seki inquires if there is something particular that he needs to do instead. Pon tells him to only look in Mary's eyes while talking, that's all. He affirms that he has always been doing that since it's much more respectful and helps him convey his feelings. The next day, they're both at the library but still haven't gathered the courage to interact. Con tries to confirm if Mary has made up her mind. She affirms that things should be all right now when she has discovered a marvelous technique to have a strong hold over her stressful emotions. She can totally do that, which is quite questionable at this point though. After a while, they start to have a normal conversation, which goes by smoothly. Mary feels impressed with Seki's ability to understand Japanese. Amidst the conversation, Seki notices that Mary seems to have narrowed her eyes for some reason. The reason is that she is trying to apply her so-called marvelous secret plan. She has intentionally blurred her vision so that she doesn't focus much on Seki. However, another part of her plan is to think of Seki as his younger brother, whom she has never had, so that he feels comfortable enough to have a smooth conversation. All of a sudden, she starts to gaze at Seki's hand while he is reading a book. Con witnesses that Mary's heart has begun to pound threefold, prompting her to think that she might have a hand fetish. She instantly concerns Con about whether she should run away, to which she replies that she shouldn't. Seki tries to pull up his move in attempting to close the distance between them, but Pon wants him to retaliate instantly since he is too close for comfort. Con asks Mary to stop looking at his hands, but when she tries to divert her vision to his neck, she almost loses her confidence because of his Adam's apple. And now there she is, away from Seki, all awkward and stressed. Con calls her an idiot for her dumb behavior, while the other hand, Pon scolds Seki for such an ignorant move. This almost makes Seki wonder as to how Pon even knows that he tried to close the distance between himself and Mary. But he certainly doesn't know Pon's been observing his moves from a distance. Just another day, Mary and Seki are trying to be casual with each other and practicing various methods to maintain a normal ongoing conversation. Mary is thrilled about her next meetup with Seki, which is due today at the library. She's been reading self-improvement books and paying careful attention to what her love agent tells her. While Mary is all excited, Con reveals that she'd be busy with her other clients for the day, so Mary will be on her own this time. Mary starts to feel nervous. Suddenly, all her confidence is about to shatter, but Con asks her to hold on to it tightly. Everything is going to be fine since she is going to give her a piece of advice that will help her out. Moments later, it's time for them to catch up. Seki seems to be a little offended by the fact that the library dates are pretty awkward and stressful. He has been reading so many books lately that he feels like a dweeb now. Also, he is being mocked by his colleagues about the split personality that he has been carrying around lately. After exchanging his annoying experience at the office, Pon advises Seki that he should think less about what has happened. He should instead focus on what's there for him at that moment. Following the discussion, Pon reveals that conversations are more or less like playing catch. One needs to throw a ball to their partner and must also catch their ball simultaneously. The crucial part of it should be that Seki needs to be a good listener. Ending the call with Pon, Seki reaches out to Mary, who can be seen reading a book. He is constantly recalling Pon's bits of advice too. Posing a question, he asks Mary if something stirring has happened to her recently. She replies that she doesn't really recall anything as of now. She'd rather go on to listen to Seki about his day. His tactics of trying to become a listener to her yaps have almost failed since she doesn't understand the assignment at all. Responding to her request, Seki tells her about his part-time job and how he has been interacting with his older colleagues. Mary seems to be fascinated by Seki's abilities to get along with older people, but there's a catch to it. She's just following the techniques Kon has told her to follow. Seki is trying hard to get her to speak for once, other than praising his yaps, as Pon wants him to act on becoming a good listener. She should be listening instead of talking, but Mary is also not letting go of her expressions of spectacular, wow, amazing, which Kon said. Mary is acting upon the S's of back-channeling technique, in which all she gotta do is pose counter-questions to Seki's questions. That way, she won't have to talk much while keeping the conversation from dying. Finally, after a long, dull conversation about okra, Seki says he wants to hear from Mary. As soon as it strikes her ears, she's instantly nervous and runs away. Later that night, Mary is at her apartment. She converses with Kon about her interaction with Seki. She tells Kon that she did pretty well while on her own, but Kon seems to disagree with her. All she did was talk about God and okra, so she shouldn't really be that overconfident. She asks Mary if she really thinks of it as good enough, to which she affirms positively. Rather, it seems like she has done the opposite of what she was told. She misunderstood the assignment as she wasn't supposed to use much of the S words. All she did was spamming S words during their conversation. One fine morning, it's a day for one of our virtual agents, Pon. On such days, it's primed to wander around town. Just a few moments later, Pon seems to have reached Seki and his friends, who are seen lingering around a convenience store in the most discourteous manner. If Mary is to witness, it will leave a terrible impression on her. Also, the way they're passing comments over women is repugnant. Seki seems to brag about his latest flirtatious encounter in front of the station, which appeared to be a win-win after all. Pon finds it disgusting of Seki and tries to step in to teach him a lesson. But this fatso is actually terrified of his friends. He thinks of waiting for the right moment, but right then, an innocent-looking girl accidentally topples over and hits Seki's shoulder. She tries to apologize, but Seki responds to it insultingly, telling her to stop looking down and look for where she's heading. These bastards not only slandered but also abused her by pulling her through her hand, telling her that a mere apology wouldn't do. She'd have to go with them to prove it too. She wonders if she's got herself in a significant problem. What are these bastards going to do to her? The scene shifts to a beauty parlor where Seki and his friends can see giving that girl a haircut. A haircut? Am I tweaking? What happened to all that rape culture and stuff? Well, never mind. The girl finds the haircut to be cute, and Pon is baffled by such an incident. They helped her because if she got a good haircut, her bangs wouldn't probably intervene in her vision, aiding her so she would not stumble upon guys next time. But things aren't over just yet. These brats seem to have other evil plans. It's more like they want to play with her like a puppet, giving her haircuts and now undressing her to get her dressed up as they desire. Pon affirmed that he had underestimated Seki's sick mentality since he is selfish enough to use poor girls for his desires. A few moments later, their sinister expressions led to the cutest encounter because they didn't really do anything to her. They're just helping her with fashion and learning how to look even better. Ayo author, please chill. Stop playing with emotions, man. All these not-so-bastard people actually bought her some clothes and sponsored her for the haircut, helping her out in an instant look maxing. Moreover, Seki assists her in choosing a significant, healthy diet and meals. She ponders why all of them have been acting so nice to her, and Seki reveals that his friends own the beauty parlor. They just wanted to practice his skills on someone for free, so they chose her anyway. Conversely, Pon thinks of how he had judged the situation so quickly. They weren't bad people as they looked like. Pon would rather Mary discover this side of Seki Messiah. Just the other day, Mary is encountered by one of her friends, who starts to reveal a story about how she got close to someone from the town. Though Mary is trying to hold a straight face, she just cannot resist overreacting to the situation. This is mainly because sometime before their interaction, her friend was a plain romanceless girl, and now, out of the blue, she's talking about the opposite gender. This was Nobuko, the same girl from the other day who bumped into Seki and his friends. I really hope this poor girl hasn't fallen for Seki. Hearing her conversation, Mary is somehow more refreshed because Nobuko is the kind of a girl who seems to be easily swayed by mere pickup lines. It's been a month since the love agents were hired, and since then, Mary and Seki seem to have progressed more than expected into their casual relationship. But it's just at a casual stage of talking right now, and Mary seems to be satisfied with it too. Adding to that, it wouldn't actually be a lie to think that Mary feels anxious whenever she has to talk to her friends about their relationships. After her conversation with Nobuko, she started to rethink her contemplation about love. She's in the library while she reminisces about her discussion with Nobuko. Moments later, she's approached by Seki, and judging by her worried face, he asks if something is wrong. Without answering his question, Mary poses a counter-question, asking Seki if he has ever been in love. This puts the three of them in a state of hush. While Kon is thinking about where Mary gathered the courage to ask the question, Pon, on the other hand, advises Seki not to make any blunders and to be extraordinarily careful. Seki is aware that while asking such questions, girls are always on guard to judge boys based on their answers. They try to compute a man's thoughts and perspective about love by indulging in such conversations. Any negative remark from a man, they would never forget about it their whole lives. If one doesn't give it careful thought, they'll forever be regretful. After her question, Seki seems to be buried under more profound thoughts as he doesn't really want to disappoint Mary, nor does he wish to lie about his future relationships. Pon appreciates him for his profound thinking, revealing that girls genuinely want to be a man's number one no matter what. After a thoughtful moment, Seki discloses that he did have some past relationships, and learning from his experiences, he truly knows now what kind of girl he'd like to love. He feels pretty confident while he says that, which makes Mary blush. While Pon appreciates Seki's answer, Seki asks Mary about what kind of guy she would be into. Answering that, Mary exclaimed that she'd want an honest and serious man who'd rather not be intimidating, someone who wouldn't really betray her, which is an absolute necessity. Later that moment, Seki begins to reminisce over his conversations with Mary. He rather knew about Mary's nature, but it's still tough. She's the kind of a girl who despises guys like him to the point of never forgiving them. Pon tells him he's being pessimistic, but Seki says he has a good eye for women. He certainly knows what he's into. On the other hand, Kon is concerned about Mary's enthusiastic behavior towards love. After judging Mary and reading Mary's previous status, Kon concludes that Mary's case and this job will be more complicated than expected. The love agents only operate remotely, but it's helpful for a client to be in a nearby area to perform specific tasks on their behalf. Although Pon and Seki work remotely, it's not uncommon for them to work face-to-face too. One fine morning, Pon sets out to gather information that could be helpful for Seki's relationship. That's when he bumps straight into Mary and she falls. While she apologizes for her innateness, he inquires if she's hurt. She reveals that she is. Pon goes on to assist her, expecting to get a few pieces of information that could benefit his client, Seki. Trying to start a conversation, he comments on how distributing documents from the council to students can be a hassle, especially since the school is so big. Although she agrees to a point with Pon, she also tells him that she was told to do it anyway. Pon exclaims that she's just so kind-hearted. Mary reveals it's not just that. Sometimes, doing things as you're told is easier because it's convenient and satisfactory. While she talks about her thoughts, all Pon can ponder right now is if he gets to know about her likings and interests. It would provide critical information for Seki and Mary's relationship. In that case, it's time for Pon to demonstrate the communication skills he had acquired as a love agent. Let's see what this fatso has got under his sleeves. Trying to be over-efficient, this thick-skulled fatso blunders even on his first try. He calls Mary by her first name, which has triggered her to analyze him. Thankfully, she considers him unattractive, which he actually is, and harmless because of the way he's dressed up. Though she was bothered at first, now she's trying to act cool because she's analyzed him. She reveals that she was to be called by her first name when she was with her family, so she's used to it. She goes on to ask what Jew means since he has used that term with her first name. He explains that when he first encountered Mary, he couldn't resist thinking of her as a princess who might have escaped from a castle. For that reason, he just blurted that out. Mary, a bit impressed by his gesture, tells him that he's a bit unique, and that's how his fat ass was saved. Trying to indulge deep into the conversation, Pon poses a question, asking her as to why she would transfer schools at such odd times of the year. She reveals that if she were to talk about that, it would take a bit of time since it's a long story. Will he be up for that? Pon asks her if she's willing to tell him about it. Mary discloses that his mother is Japanese and his father is Swedish. She chose to follow her mother because her parents divorced because of an affair during elementary school. After living abroad for some time, her mother remarried a Japanese guy. Thus, they had to return to Japan. Trying to conclude the information, Pon tries to comfort her by siding with her mother, but he also remarks that not all men are fickles. He was shocked to hear when she revealed that he misunderstood. It was her mother who had an affair during her marriage with her Swedish father. Because of that, her mother made her choose whether she'd side with her father or her mother. Since then, the look on her father's face has been like a nightmare for her as she chose to side with the unfaithful one, her mother. To top off her regret, her father also passed away, so it'd forever be a nightmare for her now. Trying to shrug off the conversation, Mary apologizes for talking like that and asks Pon if he'd consider being a counselor if he gets the chance to. Later that night, he begins reminiscing about when Seki refers to Mary as a girl who seems to have lost herself. She's someone who'd live her life according to others' wishes. She'd stop crying if she's asked to. She'd laugh if she's being told to. This made Pon curious enough to wonder if Seki just wanted to help Mary out. The scene shifts to Mary in her house. The door opens to reveal Mary entering her mother's room after a tiring day at school. While they both indulge in a conversation, Mary's mother tells her that she doesn't mind her falling in love with a boy at all, but she advises her to do it only when she's confirmed that the guy is serious. She should be careful of being seduced by some strange perverts. Her mother begs her not to make the same mistake as her mother did, pleading her to stay away from such men. It seems like the story has more darker turns than expected. Mary agrees to her mother's advice, exclaiming that she'd definitely take care of it. The next day, Seki observes, from a distance, a group of people who seem to have surrounded Mary. He ponders who these people are and what they are doing. Upon that, Pon reveals that they're the YouTube Club. Their club activities include producing videos and sometimes streaming them online. Pon asks Seki if he's not going to the library today, and Sek reveals that he has something up his sleeves. If he is to confess Mary his love, he is pretty sure that he won't be rejected, to which Pon also agrees. He goes on to explain how Pon's plan for a nerdy approach actually worked wonders in Seki's favor, but that has been a bit bothersome for him lately, because at the end of the day he's just a fake, and the real him is nothing like the way he's acting now. As he speaks, his words are disrupted when Pon sends him a live stream to watch. It's Mary's interview that those YouTube Club guys are carrying right now. Starting with their introduction, it's the Aoshiba High School YouTube Club, and what they typically do is portray some personalities as they kidnap them for being famous around the campus. Since Mary is one of them and is cute too, their video will probably go viral. With that, they kick off their interview by telling Mary that she'll have to be brutally honest and will have to answer each question, holding no secrets. Their first question asks Mary's name, followed by whether she has a lover. Mary answers that she doesn't have any lover as of now. The interviewer asks about the things that Mary's lately been into. She reveals that she's been reading self-improvement books. Seki is watching the stream and seems okie dokie until the interviewer asks more questions. They complimented Mary's smile, which was adorable, and she replied that her mom had told her to keep smiling. Pon ponders that things are not looking good, as Mary has been told not to keep any secrets. She'd go on to answer every question honestly, which might be impaired. Seki says it shouldn't be that bad, but he was unaware of their next question, which left him dumbfounded. The interviewer asks Mary about the color of her panties, to which she casually responds that they are orange. As soon as Seki witnesses the question, he runs toward the room where the interview is being held. The interviewer keeps asking personal questions until Seki reaches the room. The interviewer inquires whether Mary likes lewd questions, mainly because she has revealed the color of her panties. As he proceeds to ask about Mary's fetishes, Seki enters the room with a completely different personality. He's aggressive and violent with foul language. He calls the interviewer a sick predator, telling him that it isn't an interview of a porn star. If he witnesses the interviewer doing this shit again, Seki will make him go through hell before death. Trembling because of his behavior, Mary asks him if he's alright because he's scaring her with how he's acting. With that, the story of a hero who's not very sincere and heroine who is brutally sincere continues. Human relationships can have their own chemistry. Seki's actions against the interviewer were very different from how he usually reacted. One might think of them as vicious, but others might perceive them as manly or protective at the same time. In contrast, Mary found it to be the former since Seki's actions actually scared her. It happened because both of them have completely different natures. Mary thought of Seki as someone who was calmer and more of a gentleman. But in reality, things are different, and Seki isn't denying it. He goes on to explain his current behavior, telling her that he was just being protective. He didn't really intend to portray himself as heroic and savage, but he only did that because he was genuinely concerned. Moments later at the school, Mary stands at a window, trying to comprehend all that happened a while ago. She asks Kon if she is aware of Seki's actual personality. She responds that she did some research and couldn't find anything suspicious about him. He never fought, nor did he have any bad records previously. He's an amiable guy who has many friends to get along with since he's the kind of guy everyone likes. Mary feels a bit betrayed that Kon didn't reveal all of that before, to which she responds that it's normal for people to hide different sides of themselves. They let you know of the sides only they want to show. If you're unable to accept such facts, even a budding romance can diminish away. Seki was only doing it to be friendly with Mary. Since all of that happened, Kon asks Mary what she will do about the contract now. Is she going to terminate it here? If she does, Kon will waive the success fee, but the advance payment will be non-refundable. Mary poses a question, asking if things are at their end now. Kon replies that it seems like it. Deep in her thoughts, Kon tries to comprehend that Mary is only seeking a romantic partner because she wants an escape from the kind of abusive environment she's been brought up in. She is simply seeking someone who could provide mental support and help her with her miseries. Concluding that, she thinks that anyone who is worthy enough would do good for her. She only wishes to be saved, so her hero could be anybody. In that case, Kon comes up with the idea that she should stop committing to only one person. Mary asks Kon to elaborate on it. In other words, she explains to Mary that if she focuses on multiple people at once, she'd have a better chance to get along with the one who is better among them all. If all goes to hell with one person, she'd be back to square one. And with this new technique, she'll get closer to several people she's interested in. The idea dumbfounds Mary. She says she won't become a slut as she's not that rotten of a person. Explaining further, Kon reveals that no one is asking her to act like a slut as she won't be breaking hearts. All she'd be doing is trying to expand her social circles to get to know more guys at once. The probability of her getting hooked while only being with one person for a time is really low since not everyone will be a compatible match for her. Mary agrees with Kon's statement to an extent, and with that being the case, Kon agrees to provide assistance in the future. Kon asks Mary if she's interested in any guy other than Seki. After careful thought, Mary points towards Pon, who happens to stand just there, outside the building. Judging from her previous encounter with her during printout distributions, she considered him a safe guy. But Kon is just astonished by Mary's choice of guys. Kon asks her to stop thinking of Pon momentarily because she's Mary, someone who could pull several handsome guys without a hunch. But Mary doesn't really want handsome men. They seem to scare her just as Seki did. The fact that Seki was good-looking it always made Mary a little shy and hesitant to talk. And since Pon is just an average guy, it's easier for Mary to speak to him. My guy is just getting bullied at this point. If he goes on to some severe look-maxing, it's done for you all bullies. Kon is just disappointed in Mary's way of choosing a partner, but since that's how she goes, Kon will have to work that way. Inside a YouTube club, poor Seki is still reminiscing about what he has done. Unaware that Pon is just behind, he asks him what he should do from now on. He punches some hardcore motivating line that uplifts Seki's mood, but all he gets told in return is that he's kinda fat. After that day, Mary has yet to contact Seki. She's nowhere to be found and hasn't even replied to Seki's messages. Seki took the fact that Mary was the cautious one lightly even when he was aware. His thoughts are disrupted when Pon asks about not wearing glasses anymore. Since he's been caught, there's no point in faking himself again. After all, this is who he truly is. Seki reveals that he was unaware that Pon was a student from the same school. In reply, Pon tells him it's just his tactics. It'd be hard for his clients to accept him as an assistant while he is a student. He prefers to deal with his clients online because there's less chance of him revealing his true identity and educational background. He's just an expert online, and it's better that way. In fact, Seki himself would have felt reluctant to hire him if he knew it from the beginning. Seki agrees to it as well. Seki asks Pon how he has so much knowledge about love. Does he get it by playing dating simulators? Pon finds his comment to be hilarious. The truth is that most dating simulators are out of trend these days, as only a handful of companies are running them. The only reason that Pon is a qualified love agent is because he has experienced true love. Pon reveals his story, which he claims to be embarrassing. He was also in love despite not being that good-looking. He fell for someone who was more of a flower grown up on a mountain cliff, someone unreachable, at an unsurmountable height. In that case, he thought of doing research. He went through multiple books about what love actually is. Why do people seek others when they are well aware that they're going to be rejected? He researched and kept pondering, pulling countless all-nighters. This made Siki ponder if Pon's love came from fruition. He responds that it's not like that. It's still more or less in progress. However, every romance has a chance of success. After his explanation, Pon asks Seki if he'd side with the advice of an ugly fool hopelessly in love or a handsome, well-known guy. Adding further, Pon tells him that he can definitely arrange another agent for him since the industry has more qualified, good-looking agents. Clearing his self-doubt, Seki tells him that he won't change his agent since his advice kept the relation smooth. It was Ski himself who messed it up. At that moment, Pon tells him that he will devote his heart and soul to this endeavor. It'll be a grand battle, and since the current Seki has lost his reputation points, he'll encounter danger too. Seki agrees to keep fighting along with Pon. It uplifts his spirit. While Pon tries to leave the room after their conversation, he bumps straight into Mary, who has been looking out for him. She greets him by his name, and he does the same. His weird talking style makes Mary ponder if he is popular amongst his classmates. He reveals that he's not much of a talkative guy. Mary finds it hard to believe since she feels like Pon is the one who is more accessible to talk to. If he ever wants to have a word with someone, Mary will always be there for her. She advises him not to isolate himself. Gosh, she's trying hard on him now. You should have tried the same way with Seki, you dimwit. With that, she bids farewell, but Seki is mad that this fat buffoon's been hitting on his girl. Pon reveals that he only talked to her once. He can't fathom why things have come to this. On the other hand, Mary is feeling happy since she's making a bit of progress with Pon. While she thinks of it as that, Con is just embarrassed that Mary is making her flirt with Pon on her behalf. She tries to divert her mind from Pon to Seki, but things don't seem to work. Even though Mary thinks she could carry on with Pon without her agent's help, she still asks Con to stay with her and help her build a relationship with Pon. The fact that Mary hasn't given Seki any soft corners lately seems to have taken a great toll on him. He asks Pon about what he should do now. Pon responds that once you're rejected by the opposite gender, a second chance is more or less impossible. Pon advises him that he should move on to another girl because that's the least he'd suggest to a client who is only there for a girlfriend. Wanting one's love to be requited is a perfectly natural thing one could wish for. Calling him his liege, Pon tells Seki that he will help him in his fool's errands. Seki ponders, what's that? Describing his so-called theory, he explains that when one is to limit their selection of partners to only one person, that's when they're to commit a fool's errand. It's a non-recommended phenomenon by renowned romanticists. In the realm of love, people tend to adopt the phenomenon of anyone would do. They evaluate multiple potential partners at one time, and once their criterion is met, they tend to go along with that person all. The idea of anyone would do disgusts Seki, and he shouts to oppose it. He reveals that the concept of love should be pure enough that if you fall for someone, you end up marrying only them. Pon argues about the modern-day tradition of having to have multiple partners on dating apps, which is firmly against the old traditional love concept, are they not? Seki reveals that he's strictly against dating apps anyway. Pon is astounded by such firm conviction. He inquires what Seki is up to. After a long-held argument, Pon finally realizes that Seki doesn't really want to give up on his crush, so he comes up with a new technique to help him recover from being the rejected character. Seki thinks of it as something interesting that he'd want to hear. Pon shouts that it's the image change, which Seki believes is the same old technique as before. The technique of trying to fake one's true identity. But it's not like that this time. Last time, their operation failed because they attempted to cater to Mary's preferences, but this time, they curate an image that would very much highlight Seki's positive side. It's going to be self-improvement. Such a straightforward approach will actually benefit Seki in this regard. Of all the strategies that Pon has come up with so far, Seki found this strategy more attractive and is eager to kickstart. He thinks that mere strength or physical exercise will do, but he is unaware of what Pon will reveal to him. The other day, when Pon was eavesdropping on Mary's conversation with her agent, she talked about her fear of muscular men, while Con told her that she should reconsider her decision to date a fatso. She thinks that she might die if one of them hits her. Con is just mad that this girl would only consider the negatives of a guy, whereas muscles are purely a form of beauty. It feels like Mary's fixation on introverts has made her scared of muscular men. While Seki thinks of Pon as a stalker, he reveals that he's only been doing his part of the job. That leaves Seki to question as to what he should do in order to improve himself. Pon says that he should focus more on his inner self, working on understanding the true essence of an introvert, and for that, he'll have to enroll himself in a manga club. The scene shifts to Seki and his friends in a manga club, which leaves the people there in shock because they don't really look like manga weaves. They don't belong to their lair, since the manga research club is at the very bottom of the school's social hierarchy. There are a bunch of loners there, which makes it the best place to develop introvert-like habits. While their presence is making the president of the club uneasy, there's one girl who is actually delighted to find Seki in a manga club.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away. Had to find the place.